bad, like, and the greens were super soft, cause they had like watered them that morning. Cause we teed off at like 9:20. Yeah, and I felt like more grounded too, cause like I played like shit last weekend. So this weekend wasn't too bad, I shot a 92. But also with,
Getting a little better.
okay, yeah, we're,
I think
God, you
like-
got that one too?
This one wasn't as bad as this one.
He picked up a hot grill braid about a week and a half ago, didn't
Yeah.
even know that it was,
Came back, I was hunting place and came back from the four-wheeler and then we had this round grill grate that goes, fits over the fire pit. And my son was there with his buddy and I.
hey idiot, it's hot.
And so I went to go pick it up and he had just taken it off the fire, I had no idea.
Go to CVS and just buy the capsules,
Yes,
break them, put them on there, and then aloe vera
I've been using both of those. Yeah.
will work wonders.
Yeah, so I actually bowled. I took the kids on the quarter and took it for the week.
Yeah.
And I was like, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good.
Yeah, when you go to bowl,
Oh, gosh. We used to bowl in Louisville. I was actually from bowling.
at Avon, yeah, that place is too ghetto for me now. It's so bad, I'm like, okay, this is the part of Louisville that you hear about, like.
Yes.
It is.
But we did it. It was supposed to be 4 weeks.
Got your little confidence back, I guess.
I guess, yeah. Had a few strikes, beat the kids. So.
Yeah, it's a good win. Yeah, anyway, so we're putting all our shit on carts, and then one of the older guys that we bowl with, apparently his wife had an accident, or well, his wife had an accident, she came off, his house was crazy, so it was like bag, everything, 2 different tools, like brush, and he's like, do you want this set? And
can't hear her.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, it's here? Can I hear you now? Say so.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you too. Okay, good. Sorry guys, I'm running a little late today. It's market stuff.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I just needed a minute. I made it. 4 minutes late. Apologize for the tardiness. But today is market stats day, and so I wanted to make sure that I looked at all the market stats before I started talking about it. I thought that was kind of important. So welcome to another edition to Let's Talk Real Estate. You all know this is like my favorite sales meeting because I'm a nerd and I like stats. So thank you, Eric, as always, of Cardinal Financial for supporting us. And we're going to hear some fun information from him here in a little bit. Gigi, what do you need from all of these beautiful people to close out the month?
Oh, I'm okay.
She's
I don't know
good.
yet. Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's
But
good. Good
How
job.
many people are on the line?
A couple.
I'm counting.
Yeah, several.
Well, I just wanted to let you all know that the CDA request form is in zip forms now. And I want you all to practice with it, please. Ask me to approve it and I'll see how quickly I see these things. It's under all forms, and then the Judge Bite Company forms where the affiliated business disclosure is, it's in there. And then auto-populate some of the things out of your parties and your summary, but not all of it. So take a look at it, see if there's anything that I think is missing, that you think is missing that I would need, and I'm doing the same thing, so. Yes.
All right, so Terry Gord loves it. All right, so CDA request form, right? That's what we need to do to help Gigi. And make sure that you got all your contracts in, right? Don't wait until like the last minute and say, I need a CDA tomorrow. That is not nice. All right, so with that, market stats. All right, so what do you guys think happened in the last month before I show you? What did your magic 8 ball say? Price drops, right? What else did we see? Longer days on market, right? Contract to close, Tara thinks went up. Okay. All right. What do you think happened to prices? We said decreased. All right. So let's see. The little curve tends to look like what you're saying, Tara. Median price in the state of Texas was $350,000. It actually, from May to June, went up like a little bit. It went up like $5,000 from May to June. But overall, it's actually pretty flat, right, if you think about it. Now, year over year, so this time last June, it was a price decrease of 2.8. Still, overall, relatively the same market we were in last summer, right? So everyone that's like, oh no, I missed the boat. Well, you didn't. It's still the same market, right? Closed sales are down year over year about 10%. And then we did see them kind of decrease a little bit month over month, but by like 1,000 units. So overall, in the context of the state, we're doing okay, but closed sales did decrease year over year quite a bit. Active listings are actually up though. So what makes this market different than last year is that we've actually got inventory, right? We've got a 32% increase year over year in closed listings, and our active listings month over month from May to June actually went up about 8,000 units. Our inventory is up, so we're at 3.2 months of inventory, which we haven't seen that in an eternity, anything over 2. And then we've got our close to list ratio at 96% across the state, so it stayed relatively flat. And days on market actually decreased, Tara, 3 days, but our days to close stayed the same. So although you were feeling like it got extended, it really didn't. It's pretty much very similar to where we were last month. Oh, wrong way. So I found that I can pull this little MLS market watch the last 7 days for the state. So there were about 3,000 new listings in the state of Texas. There are about 3,300 of them price decreased. So about the same amount that went on also decreased, right? So to your point, we are seeing prices kind of have to adjust to the elevated expectations of our sellers. Pendings though, we've got about 2,500 pending units, about 2,500 closed across the state. Now we're starting to see that canceled and expired pick up, because remember, we very rarely ever saw anything there. The withdrawn, the holds at 305, right? A lot of people are saying, we'll just put it on hold so we can like fix it real quick and then put it back. And then we've got about 300 units coming soon across the state. Now, what was interesting was when I was comparing Collin County and some of the other cities, to be able to see what's happening in the state in context, right? I think will give you an idea of how big and powerful the Collin County market is as a whole. Now, I'm assuming that this is the state within NETRIS, so it may be more the MSA versus the state of Texas, right? So the MSA is the Metropolitan Statistical Area, right? Because NETRIS, I think, doesn't pull listings from San Antonio, so I'm assuming this is DFW, right, and not the state of Texas, but I'll just have to dive into that a little bit more. If it is the DFW MSA, this kind of gives you some context of where we are, which I really 99% sure it probably is that MSA now that I'm thinking about it. But the median price is $410,000 for the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. It was a decrease year over year, 3.8, so very similar to what we saw across the state. Guess what? Median price also went up 5K, right? Just like in the state of Texas. As you guys remember, we do this every month. It tends to really very much mirror what's happening at the state level as far as growth and decline of the market. Closed sales here actually held a little bit flat. They tended to trend up, but overall, it's the difference is like a handful of transactions. And then your active listings actually are up year over year as well, but not to the same degree as they were at the state. It's only 17% increase here in the DFW Metroplex, but it is an active listing increase of about 3K month over month. Our month's inventory, we are still down, right? We're at 2.5 months, so we're under what's happening in the state, and it was only a 0.7 increase year over year, so we're still needing inventory here. The little bell curve looks about the same. Our price distribution didn't really adjust too terribly much month over month. So as you can see, we've got a big chunk of the market in the 300 to 400 range. And then we've got days on market here actually also went down 4 days. And where you're seeing the decrease is not in the days to close, it's the days on market. So from May to June, we saw a decrease in days on market. Now, that doesn't mean June to July, we're not going to see the opposite, because Tara has a unique perspective, right? That she's seeing the contracts that are closing now, right? And so she's seeing days on market, the contract to close part kind of extend. So it'll be curious to see what that looks like when we get the stats for next month. Now, Collin County, what I thought was interesting here, we see median price down 5% year over year, which is actually up about $14,000 from May to June. So we're just starting to see prices kind of inch up a little bit from where we have seen decreases. And then our closed sales are relatively flat, but they are trending down. And our active listings are relatively flat, but they're trending up. So we are seeing some similarities across the county to the same kind of growth patterns that you see across DFW. Our month's inventory is about 2.2. Again, the curves look the same, right? But our closed sales are starting to kind of tick up quite heavily going into this year. And our close to list ratio in Collin County is actually trending up, but it's about the same as where it was in May. Again, here, if you look at the price distribution in Collin County, the majority of the market is in the 500 to 750 range, or you've got about 34% of the market there. okay? Days on market actually here went down 5 days. And what I thought was interesting was when I did this little snapshot, about 14% of the market from when you can in Collin County in new listings is the total listings in what was offered in the MSA. So there was about 3,000 in the MSA, and we're about 400. So Collin County holds about 14% of the market at large. And so we are a big factor in what's happening in DFW Metroplex as a whole for being such a small-ish county people-wise, right? We're not the Dallas or the Fort Worth, right? But Collin County holds some strong power when it comes to overall market share. And then the close was about 14% of what was reflected on the state. So we had about 351 units closed. And if you can see, if we get it under contract, we're pretty much sure to close it, but we are seeing canceleds increase, expireds increase, so where you guys didn't have some opportunities before, you might now. And the canceleds are really, hey, I didn't get the price I wanted, I'm gonna try again next spring, right? And so there's some good opportunities for you guys there in some of your prospecting. So Frisco, McKinney, Salina, Prosper, Plano, Allen, Little Elm, and the Colony. Let's see what we've got in our cities that we work. So median price in Frisco was actually down year over year, about 6%. But it's slightly up month over month. So the 5K we've been seeing across the board. It's $679,000 is the median price in Frisco as of the month of June. Our closed sales are down year over year, and they're up month over month. And our active listings are also kind of flat to an extent from month over month, but we're seeing them down year over year, as is inventory is kind of flat month over month. So we didn't add a lot of inventory, but we still have the buyer demands because we're getting those homes sold relatively quickly. We're still, days on market are only 26 days. And so we are seeing, contracts come in, our closed sales are picking up, and look at where our price distribution is for Frisco, right? 500 to 750. We saw a big jump in the million plus. We're at like 18%. And the majority of your market really is 500 plus, right? That's where you are in Frisco. So if you're wanting to buy under 300, good luck, right? There's not much, there's nothing. And our close to list ratio is, I think, one of the highest that we'll see today at 99%. So it really is a very competitive market right now in Frisco. We've got 64 new listings in the last 7 days, 72 price decreases, and about 8 back on market. So I don't know why we have 3 price increases, but we do. And then the active option contracts, so we're getting them under contract. We got 47, 11, we've got some pendings and closed. Look at the canceleds, again, 19, so it's a big jump with some coming soon. We aren't seeing many withdrawn though. So it's either canceled or on hold, and that's it, right? So in McKinney, we're seeing median price actually go down about 2K month over month, which is a 1.5 decrease year over year, with the median price being at 532. So basically the same, right? There was very little to no difference from May to June to June, right? Our closed sales are down a little bit year over year in McKinney, but they're flat month over month, so the market's holding pretty steady here in the summer months. Active listings are down year over year, but we did see an uptick month over month, so we're starting to see some inventory come on the market. But overall, our month's inventory based on buyer demand is still at 1.8 months, and so we are needing listings in McKinney, okay? Here again, close to list ratio is about 99%, so it's been holding strong. So Frisco, McKinney, there's not much negotiation rooms if the home is priced correctly. They are still selling pretty close to asking price. Now, again, here, price distribution, 500 to 750, or million plus is much lower, but you do have, a little bit more options under 500 in the McKinney market, just not as many. When I say under 500, that means 4 to 5, right? Not much lower than that. And then our days on market here are 24. And it's still a very competitive market. Here's kind of our snapshot of the last 7 days. As you can see, we've got just as many listings, just as many closed, so they hit the market and then they sell pretty much. We are seeing a big growth in price decreases as predicted, but we are getting contracts under, our homes under contract, and so that's really good. Not as many canceled as in Frisco, but you're starting to see a trend pick up. So in Salina, median price is $582,000. Again, that's pretty similar to where they were last year. It's only a 5% decrease year over year. But month over month, we saw a big jump in Salina of about $20K in median price. So from May to June. And I think that really is the growth in that million plus price point because you're at 16.7. The big price point here that kind of dominates is the 500 to 750, but we are seeing kind of closed sales and median prices kind of, median prices are still ticking down, but we're starting to see sales go up, and hopefully eventually that'll help both of them go up. Active listings for sure are going up overall year over year. And then you've got kind of days on market in Salina at 91 total days. Usually this is really driven by builders, and so we're seeing under the 100, I think because we're starting to see builders have more specs. I don't know about y'all, but I started to see a lot more specs on the market when it comes to builders. Now our close to list ratio actually did tick up about 1% to 97% month over month. So here's kind of our market watch. 36 new listings, 33 price decreases. Pendings are about 58, and then you've got about 27 closed. So things are getting under contract at a pretty quick rate in comparison to what's actually hitting the market. So homes are selling relatively quickly. Median prices Prosper is $834,460. That's a 3% decrease year over year, but a $9,000 increase month over month. So it's growing, it's doing well, right? We've got closed sales in Prosper down month over month, but up year over year. Active listings are down year over year, but up month over month. We've got inventory at 2.8, which is relatively flat to where we were both last year and this time last month. Median price here, where's the market, guys? 750 plus, right? Close to list ratio is around 97%, which is actually a 3% increase month over month. So you are seeing in Prosper, things kind of get a little more competitive. And then again, builders are driving the train here. That's why our days on market are so long. So in Prosper, we did see again the same trend of price decreases. Good job, Tara, with your magic 8-ball, right? We saw the price decreases, but we are getting things under contract. We've got 23 new listings within the last 7 days, of which 22 went pending, right? So we're getting some things under contract, not as many cancels here, so things are selling if they are priced correctly. Plano. Median price is $542 in Plano, and I kind of accidentally skipped it in my month-over-month comparison, so we're just going to wing it. But year over year, it's about 3%. Closed sales are down year over year. Hi, Maria. Active listings are down about 8%. Inventory is still at 1.7, and you are starting to see some things a little bit under 300 kind of start glimmering on the market in Plano, but very, very little inventory moving, and your really opportunities for that price point are in East Plano, right? Because there's just not that much. If you look at your median year built in Plano, it's at 1990, so it is a little bit older homes, right? And then your close to list ratio is at 100%. So it's a very competitive market in Plano. Here's kind of our new listing count. As you can see, it's kind of starting to grow. We've got 69 new listings in Plano with 66 price decreases. But we've got several things under contract. Our closings are picking up and a lot of cancels. And so I think when we are taking listings, especially in some of our older communities, we want to really take the minute to to get them staged correctly up front so that we don't have to do any withdrawals and we're just worrying about getting it to the right price. In Allen, we're at 595 median price. That's a decrease year over year of about 3.8%. The median price month over month actually up like 80K. Like it was a huge jump. Allen like always boggles my mind. I don't know why, but it just always does this weird yo-yo and it shocks me every time. So closed sales are up, active listings are up, inventory's up, everything's hot in Allen. The close to list ratio is almost 100%. It's actually down a little bit because it was 100% last month. Now it's 99.6, right? So but it's still doing, really, really, really well. And where you're seeing the market kind of jump month over month really is in your percentages in the 500 to 1 million range. You're seeing more of the market kind of grow into those price points. Median year built here is 2003. So here's kind of our 7-day market watch. We've got 26 new listings, 27 price decreases, right? Active option about 24, pendings, closed, right? Again, here, not much canceled. So that means it's selling, right? As if they get it on, they price it right, it's selling. And so not a lot of reasons to take homes off the market in Allen. Little Elm, median price is $518,000. That's actually a year-over-year increase of about 3%. So it's one of the first ones we've seen year-over-year go up. Not by much, but it did go up. And it's actually an $83,000 increase month over month. So we saw some big listings hit the market in the 750 to a million range, but really the big growth is in the 500 to 750, right? Probably more in the 6 to 7, hence the probably impact to price a little bit. And then we're seeing year over year closed sales up about 27%, active listings up about 27%, but inventory still relatively flat. And then month over month, you saw the same trend, just everything going up. So Little Elm is still very much a hot market. Here's kind of our 7-day watch. Price decreases are going much higher than our new listings are, right? Pendings closed. We're still seeing some growth there, but the biggest takeaway from looking at these hot 7-day market watches is what? Price decreases. That's our biggest takeaway, is that we are seeing aggressive price decrease strategies to get homes moving quickly. And then in the Colony, we see median price at $502,000. That's a 22.6% increase year over year. That's huge, right? And so overall, month over month, it's flat, but June 2023 in the Colony is a much better month than it was in 2022. Closed sales are down a little bit year over year, but up month over month. Active listings are down quite a bit, 36.2% year over year, but they're up month over month. And then you see your month's inventory at 1.5 months, which is pretty flat to where we were this time last month, as is the close to list ratio at 99.2%. So as you can see, every price point has some market share in the Colony. You can find something for everybody, right? You've got 4% in the million plus, 20% in the 750, 20% in the 5 to 7. You got 20% in the 4 to 5, and about 20% in the 3 to 4, and then a little bit under 300, right? So you can pretty much find anybody something in the Colony. Worst case scenario, you can go find something near Grandscape, right? And then here is the Colony 7-day market watch. We've got closed sales around 14 units, price decreases around 14 units, right? And so we've got listings there, but again, the big takeaway, they're selling, but at the right price. So aggressive pricing strategies are what you guys are needing to be successful in this market. A solid CMA and a solid price decrease strategy with all of your listings. Any ahas, feedback? Are you awake? Before you tears? I know no one other than Tom gets as excited as I do on market stuff today. Eric. It is a common thing in this office. I don't know across the board, but there are some agents that use the W-2 pretty religiously with their listings. Now, I do think that's a good point, though. I believe we're starting to see a little bit less of it than we have in the past, because they're not selling while incoming soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a different thing like Amy Herzog.
Mhm.
It was under 300,000 years ago. It doesn't exist, so that has been given for a long time. I don't know if it's got a contract with people or not.
I'm not sure.
They did. Why? They made that pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's not. Okay.
Eric,
There's some things like active pickups and leases that are included.
I think agents don't know what active kickouts mean.
Oh.
I'll be honest. I think this is a very underutilized status because most people don't know how to use it. But your active kickout is that there's a kickout clause in the contract. So your contracts with contingencies on the sale of another home are usually your active kickouts. But most agents will throw it into active contingent because they don't understand the difference.
Assumes that you can accept the contract, but if you get another offer and that person's house has a full tax, so they don't cancel that contract and then sell it.
What I am starting to see more of is homes listed for sale and for lease. And you're starting to see a lot of that. And so when you see a really nice listing, go to the history and make sure there's only one active. Because I have heard several people saying that it's for sale and for lease. So they're seeing the double listing. And sometimes, because the lease market is just as hot as the sales market, they're leasing a lot faster than they're selling, right? And so then it's, will you still sell it with the lease in place? What does that look like? It changes financing, but it could still be a good deal. So really kind of looking through some of those things, because we are seeing a lot of that, I think, happening right now as well.
The price decrease,
Mhm.
does it pull from pending all of the?
It just pulls like all the statuses in the last 7 days and says there were 14 price decreases. So they're not the same ones that.
But it's not like when it goes under contract and it's selling for a lower price, that be kicked in price decrease, or it's just while they're at?
It's the status change. So this is MLS status changes that were reported. So if it, to your point, if there was a price decrease, but it didn't decrease within the marketing of the MLS, that's not reflected here. So that's just enclosed. Okay. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right. So the big key here is, right, it's taking a little longer to find homes and stay in contact with our clients. We're entering the third and fourth quarter where people go, oh, I missed the market. I'm going to wait till next year, right? And I heard a giggle because you've heard it, right? So the key to success, right now in third and fourth quarter, we're setting up our first and second quarter business is our follow-up, right? And so if you make initial contact and you don't know what's next, and you don't have a solid, 8 to 12 contact point follow-up program that you can time block and do, right? It's going to be difficult on conversion. So really looking at what am I doing? What are my strategies for follow-up? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So when you're doing your follow-up, right? Especially, let's say your open houses. They went to probably 6 other open houses that same day. So the agent that's going to win that business when they're actually ready is the one that has the good follow-up plan around it, right? The follow-up allows you to build the relationship, to nurture the client, to be able to really do your needs analysis with them over time, right? We talked when Jim was doing the office tour about a really good tool that's good for follow-up. What was it? When Jim was here, he talked about a tool that you can use for long-term follow-up for sellers. No, Real Scout. Thank you, Yay, if I had a candy, I would throw one at you. Grab a mint, you earned it. But yes, Real Scout is a really good tool. Active Pipe Carry is the other one these are really good tools that help you stay in contact, right? So one, when you're trying to stay in contact, you want to know how they want you to stay in contact, right? So kind of get a feel for their communication style. Do they like text? Do they like video chat? Do they prefer phone calls? Or do they just want you to come to their house, have coffee once a month, and take a look at everything they do? What is it? Diana has a guy that makes her do a 10 o'clock call every morning, right? Or once a week. And every Wednesday, right? That's his preferred communication style. Don't mess with me. Just schedule call 10 o'clock on Wednesday. It's taken him several months to list, but that's what he needs, right? Is to be able to talk to her once a week to just go through all the stuff that's in his brain, right? If I would say it was my mom, who's now selling my grandma's house, I had to call her every morning for the last 43 years of my life in order to get her to the point where she's ready to sell, right? So everyone's got a different feel, strategy. The younger generation wants you to text. They get really socially awkward on the phone, right? You sometimes have to get them on the phone just to get the final commit. But at the beginning, when you're doing all the forward stuff, the memes and the videos and the texts might be a better way, right? And so really understanding what is their preferred communication style, how does that work with your preferred communication style? Because if you hate video text and this person's like, will you just shoot me a video text? It's going to be really difficult for you. So telling them, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do a video text, but I can do an audio. And I can do a voice to text and you can kind of get that, but I'll be sure to text you if that's your preferred method, right? So being able to come to a compromise on a way to communicate that works for both of you is very important. Now, time blocking. Why do we need to time block? Well, yeah, there's that. But what about our follow-up needs to be time blocked? Because if it's not on our calendar, it's not going to get done, right? If I have an open house and I didn't schedule myself time to do my open house thank you handwritten notes and my text message afterwards because I kept everything too tight, it's not going to happen. You got to build that into your process of hosting an open house, just like you do. If your goal is to circle prospect around that listing before the open house, 3 days before, you have a time block. I'm going to walk around. I need 2 hours to hit all 40 doors. I need time to get the invitations, to do the flyer, and then afterwards, what does that follow-up look like? I need at least 30 minutes to send everybody a text message. So I'm just going to sit at the house for 30 minutes to get these text messages out real quick. And then I'm going to get my thank you cards out the next day. First thing in the morning, I'm going to block off an hour for my open house thank you cards, right? And having it time blocked within your calendar, leave some white space, because sometimes when you don't leave a lot of white space, you do end up kind of running appointments up against each other, right? But to Megan's point, if it's not on your calendar, you don't know what to do with the time, and then it just goes to Netflix or scrolling on social media, right? So time blocking and taking control of your calendar is one of the most important things on follow-up. Now, it allows you also the opportunity to be more customer-centric. And so what does that mean to you, being more customer-centric? Seeing their needs, right? Like being able to take the time to do 4 questions and really help guide them to those need analysis questions during that. When you're more customer centric, you're not chasing the deal, right? You understand that it may take them a year. If you ask Alan on his one client, it's taken him 2 years, and he keeps terminating contracts, but he's still hanging on, right? Because he's gonna buy eventually, right? If the client feels the pressure from you that you're chasing the deal, you lose the trust, right? And so in this role, staying consumer-centric, being able to do the 4 questions and building relationship is what helps bring that transaction eventually to fruition and ideally 1 equals 5, right? Ideally, out of that 1, we'll get 4 more referrals. Now, things that you can give to them are things that provide value, bless you, or things that you can use to provide solutions for the objections they've been telling you over time, right? So if my objection is I have to buy before I sell, well, you know what? Let's get you with Eric. He can talk to you about some programs that he has in regards to bridge loans that may make it available for you to buy now and sell later. Have you ever thought about something like that, right? Or I just, don't have enough down payment. I really need to lease for another year. Well, let's look at Home Partners of America and Divvy. They have rent-to-own programs that allow you to buy the house you love right now, rent it for a year, and then do the financing later. There's a lot of things that you can use during this timeline to give them information, tools, and resources to help them get closer to the decision, right? A lot of what you're hearing from in our market in particular is people moving from out of state, right? And they're like, I just don't know where I want to buy, right? So they have to rent to a certain extent for a year. And so our job is just to go, here are different neighborhoods that meet your needs, right? If you have someone who likes outdoor stuff, we just went to Painted Tree, right? And McKinney, here's some information. I know you like to run and hike and jog. This new community has, built themselves around this outdoor living experience. Maybe we can go take a look at it. So really educating them on what's coming up, what's happening in the market, those kinds of things. Your Moxie Engaged Neighborhood News is a really good resource, as is the market alerts on Real Scout, your Front Porch News, the things coming from the chambers, the school districts, etc. And then be diligent. What do I mean by this? There you go, Megan. See, you're full of answers today. It's that. It's the don't give up, right? And don't take it personal. Because sometimes they're like, oh, but I called and they didn't call me back, and I just think they just don't want to work with me anymore. And then little did you know, they've been in the hospital for a month, or their mom died, or their cat died, and they're like in a severe depression. They're not talking to anybody, right? Or they've been slammed at work. 9 times out of 10, we make it about us, and probably about 1% of the time, it's you. The rest of the time was really things happening in their life, because they're just not ready. And so just staying constant. If they didn't tell you to stop calling, that means they want you to keep calling. Because if they didn't, they would have unsubscribed and told you to stop. Or texted stop, right? Because everyone can unsubscribe from text now just by writing stop, right? So doing those check-ins, making sure, hey, is it okay that I keep calling you? Like, I don't want to bother you, but I know this was your goal to move in the next year, so I want to make sure you have the information you need. Do we need to revisit our frequency of communication? Am I calling you too often? Should I check in only once a quarter? And letting them know that you're trying to really engage with them and pick a communication frequency that works best for them, right? And so that's all part of it. Sometimes they'll tell you, you know what, you're right. I did say I was going to be homeless in June, but I got a roommate, I'm staying here, and really, I still want to buy, I still want to stay in contact, but it's really going to be next year now. So why don't we check in once a quarter, right? But if you don't ask, you won't have those kinds of conversations. So with that, new listings, who's got one?
I have my one coming up in Irving, with a 3-bedroom, 1 bath.
Okay.
Needs a little bit of work, so it's probably gonna get 250.
So 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 250-ish. Where?
Kind of like off the Story in Rochelle.
Okay. So we've got something under 300 folks coming. What else? Online, has anyone got a listing coming up? Nope. All right. What about buyer needs or tenant needs? Who's that client you can't find a house for? All right, close your eyes. I'm serious, close your eyes. Okay. It's a Sunday night, and this person sends you a text message wanting you to see all of DFW. Who is it? Megan laughs. You had a person in your head. Who is it, and what are they looking for?
In front of us.
Okay.
So he's looking for being a grandmother.
Okay. All right. So what street is it?
It's like right there in Carrollton, near where Castle is somewhere.
Okay. So Castle Hills. Yes. And he's wanting to be within walking distance of that street. What size-wise is he looking for?
I mean, he's really wanting a townhouse in that area. There's
5 of them. Right. Okay. So if you could know of a townhouse near Castle Hills, let Megan know. You may want to look at Quail Creek because it's across the street from Castle Hills. What else? Who else had a picture in their brain? I'm not gonna stop till we hear 3 of them. So we got 1. So we found every house for every buyer that we're working with.
His mental health services, he's looking for Ulyss Irving, wants to be under 3.
Okay, so Euless Irving under 3. Who else? Y'all had open houses, right? Did y'all shake up any leads from open houses? You've had some past leases? I can wait. Okay, that's okay. I mean, that, you can find that in Capel, where was it, Capel? Okay, okay. So Capel ISD, under 500, but needs 4 bedrooms. Will they take a 3-bedroom and a study? Okay, so they need the 4-bedroom and ideally 4-bedroom with a study. Okay, so if you hear something kind of on the larger side, you may want to reach out to Maria. Ideally, Capel ISD, but I bet if you found the right house in a decent school, right, open to other school districts as long as they're good school districts. So I know this was torture. Okay, I apologize for torturing you. But a lot of the people here today are buyer's agents. If you don't know what your people are looking for, if you didn't have at least 5 faces pop in your brain, you need to call every single one of your prospects right now because you don't know what they're looking for. And so your homework this week is to figure out what everybody's looking for, even if it's 2 years down the road, because it was too quiet. Too quiet. That means you don't know. And if you don't know, someone else is going to steal your client. Now, headlines.
Francis?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if this fits what you're asking for, and I'm not even sure if anybody would be interested in my listing, but it's land, it's like an hour and a half from DFW in Sulphur Springs, Texas. And it's priced, I can't really say it's priced too high because there's other land in the area that's listed for $1 million and more, but then there's some that's listed for a whole lot less. But it's been on the market for a while. So if anybody knows I guess it's going to take like a developer or a builder, because it's 38 acres and he's not wanting to subdivide. So, but it's a gorgeous piece of land on a corner. It's got...
Mary, I don't think it's priced. I think it's just a unique property, right? It's 38 acres. It's going to be a particular buyer. And so go ahead and describe it.
Yeah, 38 acres. It has frontage. It's a corner a lot. It's gorgeous. Homes in the, like 5 minutes away from his property, they're building homes from $500,000 to $3 million. It's 5 minutes from the country club. They put in a new Bass Pro Shop, has a golf course. It's like 5 minutes from Interstate 30, but it's an hour and a half from DFW.
So your developers, your land speculators, right? This is a really unique property because to your point, the location with land is key. And there's a lot of growth happening in Sulphur Springs. And so
Right.
it would be a really good opportunity for those of you who have clients looking to buy large tracts of land.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I was looking for. All right, anybody else? Now that we shook some thought. All right, so it's hot. We're grumpy, we're running late. Our air conditioning isn't getting cold fast enough. So, for those of you who are in the room that may be a little better about car maintenance than I am, right? What are some tips that we can do to make sure our ACs stay cold? Clean out the air filter, right? And the cabin air filter, right? When you get your oil change, just say, can you clean out the filter, right? Check to see your coolant. Make sure that you've got some in there, right? Same thing on your home AC. Get it serviced if you're feeling like it's not getting cold. Doing your proper maintenance on your vehicle will keep you from getting cranky and sweaty, right? Little tips, keep some deodorant and some body splash, right? Some tissues to wipe up sweat in your car because you're gonna need it. Because the last thing you want to do is roll up to $1 million listing looking like you were running a marathon, right? A remote start makes life better. I don't have one yet, but I envy Shane every time I walk up and his truck's already running. All right, Eric said you can put one in for $200. Give him a call. All right. So we've got a lot of little things that we can do to help ourselves, right? Keep your car clean so that it doesn't smell like your kid's French fries, right? That it actually smells maybe like air freshener, because when it gets hot, smells, right, tend to mix in. I have that problem. I have sweaty boys, so my car sometimes does smell like a gym locker. Things that I've done to minimize that is not let them keep basketballs and shoes in my car overnight, right? So really think about what are the things that you can do, especially with your vehicle, to help your life be a little bit better, right? Getting the gas, in the evening before you show instead of trying to scramble the next morning on your way, right? Trying to think ahead. Those little tiny efficiencies that you can build into your schedule will impact your overall mood, right? And help your disposition when you're in front of your clients. There is a reason why we ask you to smile when you make phone calls, right? It's the same idea here. If you're hot, you're sweaty, and you're grumpy, and you get out of the car, you go show a listing, how much do you think that person's going to be attracted to you, right? And so really thinking about how to beat the heat, how to beat that mindset. It's hot, guys. And so best places to work surveys out there for you guys to complete if you haven't done it already. Passport to Paradise. Property management will give you stamps that'll help you earn the trip to Bahamas. And so Megan, for example, you work with a lot of investors. Get them to sign up with property management, and maybe you and I can be at the beach. One team. Eric, you're first, I think.
Yeah.
Try not to make people trip over this thing.
I also get excited about Stat Day because I get lots of clients asking me stuff about this area, and so this helps. Thank you, Francis. And one thing that you guys may not know is we use a HomeBot system, which is like a CRM that follows up with our past clients, which are you guys' past clients. So sometimes they get emails and they click on it and it comes pinging to us saying, what is my home worth or whatever. So if it's one of your clients that has clicked on that after the fact, I spew my little bit of knowledge, which is this big, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. So you get that client back and you find out whether or not they have plans. Maybe they're asking for a neighbor. You know, you never know. Okay, so today's little thing is gonna be kind of like looking behind the curtains of what we do as a lender for VA clients. I don't know if you guys have many of these, but there are yeah, it's because they don't really understand them, or they have little things that they know need to be fixed about the house, and that's easily addressed if they speak with a lender that knows the stuff. There are a lot of quirky things about VAs that a lot of people don't know, and there's a lot to learn. I've been doing this for 22 years, and I'm still learning stuff, but it's stayed pretty constant for the duration of my career, with the exception of now you can buy a lot more with these things. So what this is this is a certificate of eligibility. So whenever we receive a client from you guys, we'll right up front ask them for a DD-214, which is their what they get whenever they leave the military, and it tells us when they were there, whether or not it was honorable, dishonorable. But all that to say is we go to the VA through their web LGY system, which is typically pretty fast, and we get their certificate of eligibility. It tells us an entitlement code, which is something we put in our system that allows us to know what we can do. It tells us the branch of service and whether or not they are exempt from paying for the guarantee fee up front, which is something that's financed into the loan. VA loans don't require down payments to a certain degree, for the most part. And it also, they charge a upfront guarantee fee. And so what it'll tell us is whether or not they have to pay that. And there's no MI with VA loans. So one thing that we see, you probably won't see this very much, is you'll pull a certificate of eligibility and it'll say, this veteran's basic entitlement is $36,000. Doesn't sound like much, right? So what that is actually telling us is $36,000 is the maximum amount of entitlement that will show up on these things. And the way that it's calculated is this $36,000, they used to have much lower loan amounts. So there's a line of demarcation of around $144,000. VA loans, what they do is they actually guarantee 25% of that loan. So something happens, God forbid, it goes into foreclosure, the payments are not made, the VA actually steps in and guarantees 25% of the loan, kind of like an FHA loan does. So it's guaranteed by the government. And it's one of the reasons why a veteran doesn't need to have perfect credit, doesn't have to have a down payment in order to get pretty decent terms on that loan, because the government is backing it. So it says here, traditionally 36,000 times 24%, times 4 equals 144,000 loan amount. That used to be something that was important, where it told us how much the government was going to guarantee if it didn't go over that 144. We don't see many purchases these days lower than that. So the Texas VA loan limit is 726,200, which is correspondent to the conforming loan limit that we have around this area. And all of that means is that no down payment is required if they buy up to that amount. A lot of people don't know, and even some lenders don't know, is that they have a bonus entitlement that can be applied to this as well. So that can actually raise their purchase price with no down payment close to 1.5 million. So I've done VA loans as much as 7 million before. And all that means is that once they get over a certain amount, then the VA starts to require that they make a portion of a down payment. It's one of the best loans around. And then here's also a fun fact. So if you have anybody who has any disability through the VA, even just 10%, they don't have to pay that guarantee fee. And they also don't pay MI. So it is the best loan on the planet, especially if you have any disability whatsoever. And another thing is, let's say your buyer buys and they don't have any disability, but then 2 years down the road, they get awarded disability. Most people don't know. They can actually go back to the lender and have them reapply to get a refund for the guarantee fee that they paid. I had somebody that bought up in Washington, and he got back $17,000 because it was a $3 million house. Yes. Yep. That's right. But if you get a general disability, that usually will, go into the VA, and it makes it an easier process to say, look, I've been determined to be disabled. And in Texas, most of you guys know this, but if somebody has either 70% disability but paid out at 100% disability through the VA because they're unable to work, or if they've been designated as 100% disabled, they pay no property taxes, and so they can qualify for a much larger home or receive a much lower monthly payment. This is a calculation that you guys won't need to worry about. This is something that we do on the back end, and what this does is this little box in the middle will tell us the amount of entitlement charged either on a previous home that they owned, that maybe that when it's a foreclosure and it can't be restored, or maybe they own a house right now with a VA loan. It tells us basically what amount of that entitlement has been used, and then we type it into a calculator. Let's say that they want to retain that property. They want to rent it out. They're buying their next house. It's not typically what the VA loan is used for, but they can do that. They can say, look, this house over here is closer to my kids. I've been living in this house for 10 years. It's time to move on. I don't want to refinance this house because I have a great VA loan rate on it. I want to use my VA again. Well, this calculation tells us, based upon the amount of entitlement that they already have tied up in a property, whether or not they need a down payment on the new purchase, but they could use the VA more than once. We do all this for you, so no reason to use this formula here because it's kind of crazy.
So Eric, before you go.
Yeah.
I get this question a lot, and it's a two-part question. So buyer's agent will ask me, my buyer is a CPA loan, what do I need to worry about?
Yes.
What do they need to worry about?
Well, so number one, you need to make sure that they're pre-approved and that the lender has pulled that certificate of eligibility. That should be the number one question, because if they haven't done that, they're not really pre-approved. It doesn't matter how much income they have or anything else. Aside from that, then you would want to ask your client, do you have a VA on your current home if they're buying a new home? Because then you know that you need to set up possibly a simultaneous close if they want to bring money down, because we can actually have them close on the same day and we can quickly go in and reinstate their entitlement through the VA. One thing that you may run into opposition-wise from the seller is that there used to be these things called VA non-allowables. So the seller used to have to pick up certain costs for your buyer, which is no longer the case. Yeah, they can pay for. Yeah, no, it's all gone. I mean, it used to be they couldn't pay for pest, and they had the seller had to pay for the escrow fee at the title company. There's different things, and in the cases where some of those do fall to a non-allowable, it's typically the lender that picks it up. So you won't see any hindrance to your buyer. I'm sorry, to your seller. So the only time whenever it really, really comes up is, let's say there's, and this is kind of the same with FHA. Let's say there's some sort of deferred maintenance. I mean, there's a big hole in the wall. I mean, you're gonna have trouble with conventional loans as well as VA. People think that VA, people are more stringent. They're really not. They're just, they have to look at a little bit more. So like with an FHA, you want the utilities on. They wanna make sure that the air runs hot and cold. The water does the same, all that kind of stuff. If the biggest thing is if there's exposed wood. So let's say somebody just never painted the outside of the house and the soffits show exposed wood. Well, with FHA and VA, they'll require that they sand and paint that. But those are pretty easy.
It's different, I think, from conventional to FHA, is with the rock. Yeah, that I think that gets called out more in FHA.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. And then obviously if there's cracks in the walls or the roof is sagging, they're not structural engineers and they're not roof experts, so they're not really gonna know it unless you say it or it's extremely obvious to them.
Sellers, like when we're listing these, what are the things we need to worry about?
As a listing agent, really just educating.
Other than condition, right?
Yep. Educating the sellers that they have up to 10 business days for the appraisal to get done. So if people are standing around tapping, know that they'll typically use up that entire time. That is really the only hindrance to closing quickly is getting that appraisal in.
And so one thing that often gets misunderstood with FHA, even with VA in particular, so your VA buyer isn't a bad buyer, right? Like oftentimes your VA buyers are very solid buyers. They're just happen to have a program that allows them to go down. And so understanding that the challenges with VA on the listing side really are just being patient with timelines. And if you can accomplish that and your home's in good shape, there's no reason why you couldn't accept a VA buyer very system product.
as long as we're able to order appraisals quickly and there aren't like holidays that are keeping us tied up, we should be able to close a VA loan as quickly as a conventional or anything else.
Thank you, Aaron. Sorry
Thank
for keeping you.
No. It's good info. Yeah, absolutely.
To piggyback on that too, we received agent and planner received a contract 2-week close on a conventional loan, no problem, right? Well, it turns out it's FHA because we received an amendatory clause. And if that ever happens to you, there's a switch. Always make sure you call your broker, Frances, because she advised this specific listing agent in the Plano office to not sign that or have her client sign it due to the financing timeline starting over. So that's correct. My bad. Thanks.
It wasn't the finance.
Yeah.
So what was the problem? There was past closing, so it was late, and they wanted us to, they were switching lenders and switching loan types and starting over. And wanted us to start the timeline over last second.
The financing.
Because, they would have, if they would have terminated, because they didn't get approval, they were still waiting on the appraisal, like paragraph 2B say. Yeah.
Property approval.
To previous foreclosing. Determining based on the property approval of a lender. So if you extend closing, you move that line, right? And so in this particular situation, they didn't disclose they were going up big day, they were driving through the whole time. Then they go and say, oh, yeah, we can't close, we're switching to FHA. Can you extend closing in an attempt to save earnest money if they didn't get approved, right? And so we'll work with you, but we're not extending closing until we have solid. So that's how we were able to.
Since then, there has been 2 more close date amendments, and the listing agent did active kick out this weekend. So just know you got aces in your pocket. Correct. You're very welcome. Thank you. All right, back to title commitments. So last Monday, we talked about Schedule A, and then this time we're going to jump into Schedule B, which is the exceptions. So exceptions within the title work or title policy will not be covered in the title policy. You'll see a standard list of printed exceptions and property-specific exceptions. Something that will not be covered on the title policy. So we're accepting to that when we're issuing that policy. So some standard exceptions include restrictive covenants, that's going to be from your HOA, area and boundary lines, community property, water rights, ad valorem taxes, terms and conditions of documents, creating the insured interest in the land, homestead construction, subordinate liens and leases. And then some property-specific exceptions, you guys will see these more commonly. Easements, right-of-ways, building lines, HOA, maintenance assessments, mineral interests, various agreements, affidavits, etc. Any one of these may impact the use of the property. So this is where you're going to see if there's any intended use in your contract. This is where a buyer and that buyer's agent should be looking. So I always say, if they want to paint their house pink and the HOA has it in their CC&Rs that they can't, sorry, Mr. Buyer, you can't have a pink house in this neighborhood. All right. Anytime we get asked about something specific in the title company or the title commitment, we cannot interpret it. So if you're a buyer's agent working with the buyer and they have specific questions, we always advise they contact a real estate attorney just because you don't want to be held liable for representing that document either. But they always have that option as well. I think that's only happened to me once since I've been here, and I'm pretty sure it was one of Shane's comments.
Keep in mind, right, with your title, like if you're getting title insurance to cover any future issues in title, right, and they'll pay for the damages. These exceptions are things they won't pay for. And so if there's an HVAC lien and an IRS lien, right, then your title policy isn't going to make your client right. So you need to make sure that you get all of that cleared for closing. If it's not, they're assuming that liability still ties to the property. And so it's very, very important that you look at your schedule C, right?
Yeah,
B are the exceptions. C is, yeah, can be the
Alright, so
issues.
C is your exceptions, make sure that there's nothing weird. That's usually my call to Terry is, alright, Terry, what do you need weird on, that I don't know about, right?
Yeah, C, you'll see an itemized list of anything that needs to be cured. So if, you know, a seller has passed away and then one's a widow, you know, we'll be looking for stuff like that. Another thing for Schedule B is we can create an exception during the time of having a contract in escrow. So if we receive an existing survey that we're approving to use, yet there is a concrete pad encroaching over the property line or the build line, we're going to accept to that. Even though we accepted the survey, we're going to accept to ensuring that coverage on the final policy. So anyway,
A thing to keep in mind too is with your objection dates, right? You've got 3 days, 5 days, or if it's blank, close dates, get to your title commitment. So oftentimes what happens is we get the email from Collier from title, we don't look at it, we assume our client looked at it, and then all of a sudden there's something big on it, and then we're held liable for not bringing that critical date up for our clients. So really paying attention to your critical dates from your contract is very, very, very important. So today we've got Texas Spec here. So tell us a little bit about what you got for us.
So I'm Jackie with Texas Spec. Like she said, we have been in the DFW area since 1985, and we cover 12 counties all around the Metroplex, I think we counted. So we can go really far out. We can get you scheduled quickly. We work really hard to maintain your professional image. And before I forget, because I usually have been here lately, I brought these blue folders with me, and they're back there on the table. Inside the folder is this little card I would love for you to fill out. And this would give you a chance to win a trip for 2 to Ireland that we give away every January. And also we send you 52 weeks of Monday morning motivators that are designed for you to take all of our information off and put your information on, and you can send those out to your client base as you wish. So those are really great. I love getting those.
Well, and you can do the video interview with John.
Yes, we also
do a lot of cool branding stuff for you guys.
Yes, one thing that we like to do is help others help themselves and others. So that's one of our core values. So we work really hard to offer you things that are going to help you in your business. On the front of here is some websites that we put together that you could choose to use in your business if you would like. We do different things like the videos. We deliver self-addressed stamps and postcards to you. Our inspector actually takes a photo of the home while he's at the inspection. And then we create these self-addressed, all of this is in the folder that I'm talking about, by the way. They're self-addressed stamps and postcards that with all of your information and your branding on it, none of ours, we give those to you, a gift from us, something that you can give to your clients, just a way to make a touch with them, you know, after the process, the closing. In here are some warranties and guarantees that we give you. Our warranties start right at the time of the inspection. We give you a 90-day home warranty with a $0 deductible in case anything, or not you, we give it for your clients. I'm sorry, misspeaking. But anyway, so that's in case anything is working between the time of the inspection and when they move in. That way you'll have that coverage. We give you a termite and carpenter ant warranty that starts right at the time of the inspection. So even if the inspector finds termites or carpenter ants, your clients can have those treated for a small deductible. We also offer a leak-free guarantee. If the roof is not leaking at the time of the inspection, you have 5 years of free coverage. We offer something called Sewer Guard, which covers the line from the home to the yard. A lot of the ones that are after home cover the drainage pipes under the home, so that's a really good one to have. And if you get a sewer scope done with Texas Spec, it will extend this warranty out from 90 days to 6 months if you get the sewer scope done.
Awesome.
And it also covers the dollar amount on that. We do a cute little monster guarantee for all the little ones at the home. That's something you can look at in there. And then this last page is a lot of great reasons why you could choose Texas Spec. Some of them I've already mentioned. We get you covered. We get you scheduled quickly. We also give you a buyer protection guarantee for your client. So if the contract falls through for any reason, we'll take $100 off the next home that they have inspected if they use us on their first inspection. And we train all of our inspectors to use a charge neutral approach because we want to make sure that we are part of the process, not a hindrance to it. We train all of our inspectors to be non-alarmist, that's really important, so I just wanted to let you know about that, and please fill out one of these cards for me. Also, you're gonna get your, did I already mention this, I may not have, I'm going too quick, about getting the report on site.
Yeah,
Did I say that?
You did, you're
Okay.
good.
So we get the report on site, we get you scheduled quickly, we maintain your professional image, and we give you a 200% guarantee. So if at any point during the inspection, you or your client's not completely satisfied, not only do we refund the inspection fee, we also pay for another license inspection. So please give refer us on your name.
And so something to keep in mind also when you're working with VA clients, it's very important that you let your inspector know, right? Because they'll order the termite and all the appropriate pest documents that you need. And
Certain parts of the inspection are different with VA than
Correct.
they are with a regular.
And so you want to be sure that you let your inspector know that you're working with a VA buyer so that they can do their due diligence as well. Okay? And Tex Inspect does a great job.
And if you want to do the, we call it the agent spotlight, we have a professional studio right over at Burlington Hills. And with our general manager, Jonathan Crowe, just put a little star beside your name on the, card that I hope you fill out, and I'll get in contact with you and get you on his calendar, and you just gotta go through that.
All right.
He makes it super easy for you, so. it's
He
not
does. He's a
heavy.
lot of fun. If you have any questions, ask Diana. She's done it before.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right. With that, we've got.
And also go for Christmas.
Yes, we'll be there in just a second. So we've got all our vendors, both for residential and commercial, on the Judge Fight Connections network. And so if you go to judgeFightConnections.com, you can find them there. Oftentimes you'll put in the WhatsApp, who do you have that's this? And then me and Shane will go on the network and we'll post a contact. So just look there, it'll help. All right, now with that, Easter seals, Carrie, really quick, what do we got going on? It's September 16th. Yeah, we got a bunch of events coming up. If you buy your ticket before the August 15th, you get a free raffle. The raffle is for $2,500 Amazon gift card. We're gonna do a lot of events rolling out in August, so pay attention to the Frisco calendar because we'll have the Frisco events in August. We've had a lot of Plano events in the first half of the summer, so now it's Frisco's turn. So we hope everyone comes and shows up. And for some reason, t-shirts are for sale, and it's cocktail attire, and you get to go through all four floors of the museum. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope everyone can attend. Maria found the Active Pipe campaigns, I think, so they're in shared email templates. You still couldn't find it? Okay, I'm going to show Maria later, and hopefully we can communicate that to the rest of you. Ninja Selling starts August 9th through September 16th from 9 to 12 on Wednesdays here in the office. Career event August 1st, so send someone if you know. Broker Responsibilities August 2nd. It will be in the Mansfield office, so please be sure to sign up. I highly recommend all of you consider taking it because I think by the time you all renew, this will be required. And then with that, you've got SFS and all the things this week in our office. Solution Group, and then on Thursday, Lunch and Learn will be in Plano and in Zoom on a dozen common contracts. Carrie, were you? No? Okay. So be sure that you go to the Lunch and Learn. Was there property tour? No property tour because we did it already, right? Okay. And then Friday Morning Brew will be as usual. Company update the 27th. Real satisfied to get your surveys in. We're doing awesome. Thank you, Tex Inspect. Be so good they can't ignore you. Steve Martin, right? If you don't know what your clients are looking for, you can't find it for them. And so you can't be so good that they can't ignore you. On the contrary, they're ignoring you, right? So really, really look at what are my clients needing and being an advocate for them. That's what's going to get you the business. With that, go to lunch. Sorry we ran late, guys. Sorry, Zoom people.